our nation's colors. Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome Faith Best Ministries founder and CEO, Craig Church.
Let us pray. Father, we humbly bow in your presence and thanking you for Speedway Motorsports and North Wilkesboro Speedway. I pray your safety over the all-star race and all the drivers. But Father, most of all, I want to thank you for Jesus Christ, who died for our sins, was buried, and 3 days later rose again. That whosoever will repent and believe, the gospel will be saved. And Lord, I speak Jesus over this place. I speak Jesus over every person. I speak Jesus over families. Jesus over marriages. Jesus over addiction. Jesus over the lost, the broken, and the hurting. Lord, have mercy on us, I pray. Have your way in each and every life. I love you, Jesus, and I pray this prayer in the most precious and powerful name I know, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, country music singer and songwriter from Wilkes County, Presley Barker.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets sing under night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner can wave on brave.
No better way to kick off a NASCAR race, unlike tonight, the NASCAR All-Star Race, and we are almost to the drop of the green flag for tonight's 250-lap event at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. This is our fifth and final live commentary stream of the weekend. Here at the North Wilkesboro Speedway, as we have practice and qualifying taking place on Friday night, heat racing last night for the NASCAR Cup Series alongside the Craftsman Truck Series race, and tonight the All-Star Open 100 laps where Carson Hocevar and John Hunter Nemechek were able to race their way into tonight's main event. They'll be starting at the rear of the field, and Noah Gragson, who won the fan vote also in that race, will have to start tail end in last. Kyle Larson starting at the tail end of the field because he did not practice or qualify or run the heat race last night. He was in Indianapolis Motor Speedway this weekend in qualifications for the Indianapolis 500, which will be taking place next Sunday. So he is going to have no laps in the race car, try to go from the back to the front, where at least some of the other drivers who are starting at the rear have had laps, not only today, but this weekend in general. Brad Keselowski on the pole for this race, looking to turn his season around. Although it's a non-points paying race tonight, momentum is a real thing in this sport. Joey Logano last year, after a struggling start, same as Brad Keselowski this year, went on to win the All-Star race, then went on to win the NASCAR Cup Series championship. Keselowski has not scored a single top 10 finish this season, but will lead the field to the green after qualifying on the pole and winning his heat race yesterday. Christopher Bell, who won heat race number 2, looked to have the fastest car in the field between both heat races combined on the eye test. Can he survive the 250-lap race as we see the eye test in its full form here today over the course of tonight's action? Christopher Bell is my personal pick to win the race. You can vote for who you think is going to win tonight's race in our chat poll. And usually we keep that open until the end of stage number 2, but because there's no stages tonight, with it being the All-Star race, we're going to close that at the end of lap 200. So the end of lap 200, we will close our chat poll. That will be at 50 laps to go. Tonight's All-Star race format, it is pretty simple. For the most part, 23 laps, 250 miles. And there will be a promoter's caution that has to be thrown before lap 220. It's pretty much the only gimmick in this year's All-Star race. It can't be thrown after lap 220, and I think you lose it if it's not thrown before lap 200, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, if there's a caution at lap 200 or after, then you can't use the promoter's caution. So we don't know exactly when that caution is going to come into play, but what we do know is that there more than likely will be the promoter's caution. I doubt that NASCAR is going to let that go to waste. And we're going to see 250 laps of racing here tonight. 50 laps longer of an All-Star race than we've seen the last 2 years at North Wilkesboro Speedway. This is the third consecutive year we have seen the All-Star race here. I'm excited for this one, honestly. I think we saw some great racing at times in the Open. Heat race number 1 yesterday I thought was pretty good. Although it's hard to pass the car who's got the clean air advantage at the front of the field, there was a lot of movement from pretty much second through the rest of the pack. And we're going to see that again in this full race tonight. It's the most amount of cars we've seen on the track at one point in time since practice on Friday with 23 of them. So I'm going to assume with a 250-lap race and no stages, no competition cautions after 30 to 50 laps like we've seen with the heat races with the Open, we should have lap traffic that should make maybe passing at the very front of the field for the lead more susceptible on the long runs. For more on tonight's starting grid, we'll go through that quickly here. Brad Keselowski on the pole, still in search for his first All-Star win of his NASCAR Cup Series career, but being on the pole, he has a heat race win, looking quick this weekend. Christopher Bell, who also is looking for his first career All-Star race win, will start outside of row number 1, as he is also one of the heat race winners this week. Ross Chastain with Joey Logano line up in row 2. Logano, the defending winner of this race, and he's a 2-time All-Star winner. Chastain looking for his first. In row 3 will be William Byron and the 2020 All-Star race winner from Bristol that year, Chase Elliott. 2 former All-Star race winners, Kyle Busch, 2-time All-Star race winner, and Ryan Blaney once in 2022 at Texas Motor Speedway will line up in row 4. Behind them in row 5 will be Alex Bowman and Chris Buescher. Behind them in row number 6 will be Josh Berry alongside Daniel Suarez. Tyler Reddick, Chase Briscoe in row 7. Row 8 for Austin Dillon, Austin Cindric. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Harrison Burton in row number 9. And row 10 will be 2 former All-Star race winners, Kyle Larson and Denny Hamlin. Our 2 drivers who advanced through the Open earlier, Carson Hocevar and John Hunter Nemechek in row 11. And Noah Gragson rounds out our 23-car field all by himself in row number 12.
All right, again, starting up front. Let's keep it up there, Brad.
Christopher Bell on the outside pole. Got a great starting spot, or maybe inside after the choose. We'll see if he leads the early laps. But right now, let's go trackside in North Wilkesboro.
And now, here to say the most famous words in motorsports, celebrating 75 years of Wood Brothers Racing, please welcome John Wood and Fox's own.
Drivers, start your engines.
Fox's own.
John Wood with the command, Glenn Wood on the flag stand, Eddie Wood driving the safety car.
There we go.
Ready to go.
Wood Brothers in full force at North Wilkesboro tonight. Matthew Dorter, Bruno, Joe Rochester, Billy Kramer, Bond 1771, Frank Powers, William Walton Jr., Chris Davis, and others, welcome into the stream. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Our goal will be 50 likes for tonight's live commentary stream. And we'll have full flag-to-flag coverage for you right here on KRC. As you just heard, the engines are fired. We've gone over the starting lineup for today's race. Again, quickly, only prediction we have to get through tonight, with it being a non-points race. We're not going to really highlight the Fantasy League because that's not in action. I'm taking Christopher Bell for the win. I took Carson Hocevar, who started second in the All-Star Open earlier. I took Bell to win his heat race yesterday. Fact of the matter is, I think you have to start up at the front of the field if you're going to want to win one of these things this weekend, whether that be a heat race, an Open, an All-Star main event. Even though this race is 250 laps, I think more could happen. the leaders are probably going to have to work their way through traffic at some point in time at the back of the field. I think we will see lap traffic over time in this race. And Christopher Bell was able to pass cars better than any other because he didn't even restart in the lead on that last restart that they had, or second to last restart after the competition caution in his heat race. And he was able to take the lead quickly from his teammate Chase Briscoe on just right side tires. Christopher Bell has the fastest car, and most weekends I try to take who I think looked like had the fastest car through practice, through qualifying the day before, because we had an extra set of laps of the heat races yesterday. It only further solidifies my opinion that Bell is going to get the win here today. So we'll see if we can get it done. 4 race win picks on the season, looking for number 5. And be the 4th one here in the span of the last handful of weeks. So looking to keep the good times rolling. Fixed my sound. I didn't think anything was wrong with the sound. So if the audio seems to be better on your guys' end for the listeners, then awesome. But I didn't touch anything, so I don't know. Couldn't tell you why that might be. Joey Logano on this freshly repaved surface last season was able to lead all but one lap of the All-Star race out of 200. Will we see a similar domination from any of the 2 drivers starting on the front row this evening? Brad Keselowski led all but 1 lap in his heat race, and Christopher Bell led 69 of 75 laps in his heat race yesterday. Kevin Harvick and Clint Boyer in the Fox booth are dialing up a driver for a pre-race interview. Get to listen into who that driver is. It looks like it's our pole sitter, Brad Keselowski.
Fun here. I got the ECU theme on the car, and the guys are calling it the pirate ship all weekend, but so far it's been more like a rocket ship. So just got to set sail here with you, the clean air, make it count, and get these pit stops, timing and all that just right. And we've got a good enough car to go in.
All right, man. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
All right, let's have a look at the starting lineup.
They may dial up somebody else for a pre-race interview. You'll get to listen into that as well. They're going through their version of the starting lineup. We already got to see on our screen who was starting where in the field. Comment in the chat down below. Who do you think is going to win the race? I know there's a voting poll open, so I can see the vast majority of who you guys are picking for tonight. And so far, 56% of those votes are taking somebody other than Logano, Bell, or Keselowski for the win. I put those 3 in there because those are my 3 favorites for the win here today. Specifically, Bell would probably be my number 1. Then I'm probably going to go Keselowski and Logano, although the only reason I have Brad up there is just because he is starting on the front row. Only driver dropping to the rear of the field for the start of the race is Larson, and again, that is because he did not practice or qualify his car Friday, and he also did not participate in the heat races yesterday. Nobody else is dropping to the back for unapproved adjustments or anything of that nature. Obviously, Larson would have started towards the back anyways, really only dropping back a couple of rows from row 10 to row 12. So he'll be starting behind the All-Star Open winner, runner-up, and fan vote getter. Larson was able to start at the rear on a freshly repaved North Wilkesboro surface last year with no practice or qualifying. Hopped in the car for the first time, made his first laps on the new surface, and got a top 5 finish out of it. He's got 50 extra laps here today. Try to see if he can do the same, if not better. There's only 1 caution for incident in the Open. 1 caution for incident in both heat races combined yesterday, so you wonder how clean of a race that this could be. A wild finish to the Truck Series race on an overtime restart yesterday. And I think he got up the ante if we get an overtime restart today, because there's $1 million on the line to the race winner. No points. Just a huge grand prize. Who's going to take home the cash? Line 1771 is also taking Chevy. Or, sorry, taking Bell. I saw the comment underneath that, and I kind of combined the two. Surprised at how racy the freshly repaved surface is for a repave, and especially on a short track. The difference in the tires from fresh tires to old tires didn't seem like it was that big of a difference if you had the clean air, but if you were back in traffic, the fresh tires prevailed. But they were not able to get up to the race win in either heats and the open earlier. So if you can get the lead on right sides only or maybe no tires, your chances of hanging on are going to be a lot higher than those back in traffic a little further. Clean air has been king all week, and I'm sure it will be yet again.
The two aero package with the full rear diffuser at the intermediates, they lower the car as low to the racetrack as possible. Seal that rear diffuser off. That makes full rear downforce. But with a simple rear diffuser, like here at North Wilkesboro, and only a 3-inch tall rear spoiler, they get the back of the car up to try to get as much air to that 3-inch spoiler as they possibly can. That creates the downforce back in it. Now, one other difference is the wake of the car here at a short track. I'm not going to say it's better or worse, but I do know clean air will be king.
Thanks, Larry. Now tonight, Chevrolet, Ford, and Toyota are battling head-to-head in the manufacturer's showdown. For this race within a race, manufacturer teams of the 5 highest qualified cars are scored against just each other, not the entire field. The lowest total finishing positions for one make will determine the winner of the NASCAR manufacturer showdown. We'll keep up with that during the night. Well, for the Open, 84 degrees ambient, 120 degree track temp now at 78 degrees, and the track has cooled quite a bit.
Yeah, and that's going to make a huge difference. That track temperature right there going down 30 degrees. That's going to
More than likely, definitely going to add grip to the racetrack. 29-degree difference in track temp, air temp, a 6-degree difference. Should be getting the 1-to-go signal this time by. And then we'll be going green for tonight's All-Star race at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Big weekend on the channel with the live commentary streams about to come to an end. Another big weekend next weekend, but it's time for our main event. There is an all-star competition caution at lap 100, but not as early as what we saw, obviously, with the shorter races already this weekend between the heats and the open. I still think we'll get into lap traffic at some point in time before then, assuming we have a long green flag run to start things off tonight. It's also the biggest field we've had so far at 23 cars on track. Second closest was the open earlier with 18. Try to get a lot faster. The actual NASCAR All-Stars. And they're going green at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Green flag is in the air. Brad Keselowski leads us. And we are underway. And already into the first turn, Chastain thought about going 3 wide to the bottom. Not enough room for him to be able to get enough grip in that number 1 Chevrolet. And Joey Logano instead will go 3 wide to the bottom up off of turn 4. Christopher Bell sandwiched between himself and our pole sitter, Brad Keselowski. A bit of contact off the exit of the corner. Bell was sliding up and almost made contact with the 6 on both ends of the racetrack from that opening lap. Christopher Bell still stuck down on the bottom of the racetrack right now in second place, and Chase Elliott out of nowhere slips to his outside, and now the 20 and the 9 bank fenders up turn 4. Second lap in a row, Bell's made contact with the car to his outside as they exited the corner. 3 wide again with Logano underneath for second, and the race is on early on. Joey Logano bodies the 20. Bell goes up the racetrack and loses time. Had to lift off the exit of the corner. Byron underneath them now for fourth rather. Side by side for second between Logano and Elliott. Keselowski not really pulling away a ton despite all the contact and heavy battling for second place going on in his rearview mirror. Logano by nose had second place at the line, but Chase Elliott with the momentum on the high side, especially down in turns 1 and 2 where the groove is widened out way more than it's been in 3 and 4 throughout the weekend. 3 and 4, the bottom lane of the racetrack has prevailed a little bit better than the top side. Logano using that bottom lane will slide up clear for second on Elliott, and Byron, his teammate, Elliott's teammate that is underneath him now for third. Joey Logano looks to the inside of Keselowski for the lead as he diamond cuts the corner up off turn 2, gets a straight line exit speed, and trying to rotate the bottom of the track better than his former teammate. At the start-finish line, Keselowski by nose leads the lap. Logano's going to have to make this pass quickly on the driver to clean air because the longer he takes, the more of a chance that Byron in third is going to catch up as William Byron has won his battle for position over Chase Elliott. A lot of changes for position in the top 5 in the early laps already. Logano's been underneath of Keselowski for the lead for a couple of laps now. Byron is maybe going to slip to the outside of Logano if Logano is unable to make this pass. Byron slipped up on the outside, lost a bit of time off turn 4. Another side-by-side battle in the top 5. Chastain gets to the inside of Christopher Bell for 5th. He slides up, trying to take his line away. Almost forced Bell up into the wall off turn 2 that lap. You can tell it's being extra aggressive here, even in the opening laps of this race. Just to show how much this track position is so vital at North Wilkesboro on the freshly repaved surface. Another great exit of turn 2 for Logano. That's how he got to the inside of Keselowski the first time a handful of laps ago. He gets underneath them again now. Through turns 3 and 4, continues to battle to the bottom. Tell as of right now at least, Logano's got a better car than the 6. He just can't make the pass. Keselowski's holding up a lot of guys in his heat race yesterday as well, even on older tires. Equal tires for the start, of course. Logano leaned on him a bit down the back straightaway the last time by. But again, it's Brad Keselowski holding on to the lead, and Logano has to duck in line on the outside behind our leader. Nose to tail are the top 4 positions, a little bit of a gap back to Chastain in 5th, who finally completed the pass on Bell within the last couple laps. Kyle Busch is up a couple positions now to 7th place already, just behind Bell. And for the 3rd time, Joey Logano gets to the inside of Keselowski off turn 2. He's definitely rolling the bottom of the track initially when he can enter high, exit low in turns 1 and 2. He's able to make that ground work, and I wonder if he's going to run a line like that if he can get clean air on the nose of his Pennzoil Mustang. I don't think Logano's been credited with any laps led yet. I believe Brad Keselowski has still led them all. 1 lap led for Logano in there, actually. 1 lap led for Logano. And it looks like 15 for Keselowski. They've been side by side for quite some time. Off and on again. And it's right back to being off. Until Logano gets nose to nose off turn 2 a 3rd time. Maybe a 4th now. I've lost count. He's tried. And he keeps trying and keeps trying. 18 laps in. If it goes green for these first 100 laps, Joey's got to be careful not to burn the rear tires off the car trying to battle Keselowski this hard this early. Surprisingly put a little distance between themselves and Byron and Elliott. He's gotten underneath them a few times, but for the most part, they've been racing clean with one another. So they're still keeping the lap times up for themselves. Fastest lap of the race was actually ran by Logano in 2nd place on lap number 6. He ran at 18.583. But Keselowski's fastest lap was on lap 14 just a couple laps ago. He ran an 18.694. So in clean air, he's not able to put together as good of lap times as Logano, who's been in traffic the whole time behind him. You just wonder if Joey can get ahead. Can he pull away like he did last season? And really put a stranglehold on the field for the 2nd year in a row at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Side-by-side commercial break currently airing on Fox Sports 1. Our top 10 in the All-Star race through the first 20 laps as Brad Keselowski barely holding on to the lead on Joey Logano still. Third place is William Byron. Chase Elliott fourth, and Christopher Bell rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Ross Chastain is in 6th, Kyle Busch 7th, Chris Buescher 8th, Ryan Blaney 9th, Alex Bowman in 10th place. So again, that is the top 10 through the first 20 laps. Biggest mover of the race, Noah Gragson from the rear of the field, up 6 positions from last to 17th. Harrison Burton back 5 positions, Stenhouse down 4, as well as Josh Berry down 4 spots are some of the bigger losers. Nobody has gained more than those handful of positions. And pretty much everybody else up or down 2 or 3 spots if they have moved from their starting spot in the race. Ryan Blaney underneath Chris Buescher in a battle for 8th on screen. Fox's leaderboard graphic is Justin Allgaier in the 5. I didn't even notice that until just now. But focusing on the battle for position, so I can give you the guys that call. I just looked up on the leaderboard and realized that Justin Allgaier is on the leaderboard and not Kyle Larson. Larson's in that car tonight. It does say Larson on our screen. Yeah, the NASCAR.com raw feed has Kyle Larson, but Justin Allgaier apparently on the Fox feed. The actual TV broadcast has it wrong. That was just on commercial. It looks like they have Larson in the left pylon that they would usually have. Under the commercial break, it did say Allgaier on the top of the screen. The makeshift leaderboard. That's funny. Joey Logano obviously able to get some clean air in the nose, running that middle to lower line of the racetrack on both ends of the raceway, and he's just really able to get his car to the bottom. And Keselowski doesn't want to take that line away from him because what's working on the top right now is the fact that he gets enough of a run off the progressive banking on both ends of the racetrack. As long as he doesn't have to lift a huge amount center of the corner, exit of the corner because of pushing too hard or getting ran up the track by the 22 car, which so far hasn't been the case, he should be able to hold on to this lead. Because we've seen this happen all weekend so far, and it's just been tough to pass, even in the truck race yesterday. Just the part of having a freshly repaved surface, there's not as much off-throttle time for this short track. And it's very much how deep can you drive in to commit and how soon can you get back to the gas. We've had some rear wheel spin for certain drivers in the field through the weekend, but not a terrible amount.
And Blaney looks there. Had a chance.
Yeah, this is usually the time that 12 car starts to roll as you get later into these runs. So we've run 30 laps, but don't see that right front brake. Yeah, glowing like crazy on the right front of that 12 car. A lot of times they'll split those brake pads in these cars, the compounds in the pads themselves, so that when you hit the brakes, it almost makes up for being a little bit loose in the corner. So when you see that right front below like that, we've seen these Penske cars before be really aggressive on that brake pad split to keep the car from getting loose as you apply that brake pressure.
Boy, it really magnifies the difference between lines, though, down in turns 1 and 2, as Blaney sends it into turn 3. Here's some radio from Kyle Busch.
You're pulling with a ring of on, then you get right front below that pad. That pad kind of like a river build under quiet. Slowly right through better.
You see Ryan Blaney make that move. That patch that they're talking about down in 3 and 4, that rubber's actually, I mean, it started the weekend there, caked on to that patch. They never cleaned that off the racetrack, and it's just done nothing but take more rubber. So
Blaney up to 7th. And here is Kyle Larson, the HendrickCars.com cam. Larson started 23rd. He's worked his way up 5 spots.
Yeah, this is in Larson's wheelhouse. I know he hasn't made a ton of ground, but as these cars start to slow down a little bit, they haven't slowed down as much as we would hope that they would have, but as this groove moves around, that's really when Larson will start to shine. I'm sure it's taking him some time, just in how he sits in the car and all the differences from the IndyCar. No, I can't.
I mean, let alone you haven't made a lap on this racetrack, but you got out of a space shuttle into one of these lanes.
Clive Blaney's caught Ross Chastain for 6th.
Yeah, and with all the speed that SVG had, the way that Ross looked in that race yesterday, I thought he would fire off, pretty good right here. But now we're seeing that 12 car start to make a little bit of ground as all these guys get tight up the racetrack. He's still able to run lower on the track than most everybody.
I don't think anybody's passed as many cars in the Fox portion of the NASCAR season as Ryan Blaney this year. Jamie?
And this is the way that you feel like in the front car. We said if we could took on the back and win this also race so far, guys. 17 tries, he's never won it before. Imagine.
Well, he's a 3-time runner-up and leads all winless drivers in laps led at the All-Star race.
Well, the only thing he's done all weekend long is lead. And that's where I want to keep that car. Do not give up the track position. I don't know how you do that, Larry Mack, but don't get me out of the lead with the 6th car.
Well, he's done a good job so far of keeping that car up in that high lane and keeping the momentum. That's been his best defense so far, Mike.
Joey Logano's led 2. Brad Keselowski's led 40. It's a Star 9 on FS1.
And that's one thing for Keselowski is that qualifying hasn't been great for him this year. And with the altered format this weekend, having 3 laps as your total time, a pit stop in between there has really helped him out. That's why he was able to get the pole, because I don't think he would have had the pole otherwise. He's got a fast car, it's just he hasn't qualified well all year. And really with the next-gen car, these first couple years since going to RFK Racing, he hasn't qualified particularly well. He tends to qualify in the back half of the field more often than the front half of the pack, and that's hurt him. He doesn't score a lot of stage points, and although last year he had speed on the long runs to get up towards the front of the field and get decent finishes, especially early in the year, he hasn't been able to do that this season. They haven't had the speed to kind of help bail him out. And as these teams get further along with this next-gen car, it just seems like passing becomes harder and harder as the front of the field and the back of the field just become closer and closer together on resources than even the first year or two that we saw with the next-gen. Half a second lead right now for Keselowski over Joey Logano as he started to stretch the lead out just a bit. 1.2 seconds to William Byron in 3rd. And then Chase Elliott is 1.7 seconds off the lead in 4th. 2.5 seconds back is Christopher Bell in 5th. Ross Chastain's 4.4 seconds off the lead. 4.8 back for Ryan Blaney in 7th. Kyle Busch 5.1 seconds off the lead in 8th. Chris Buescher 9th, 6.7 seconds back. And Alex Bowman rounds out the top 10. He's 7.8 seconds off our leader, Keselowski. Logano still has the fastest lap of the race at lap 6 with an 18.583. Our race leader's fastest lap time of Keselowski's at lap 14 with an 18.694. We've had 2 lead changes in the race so far. Logano got credited with 1 lap led in the couple different times that he was side by side with Keselowski, beat him by a nose to the line, but never cleared him for the lead. Keselowski's led 48 laps out of 49 completed so far today. We're almost halfway to our competition caution at lap number 100 in today's race. As we continue to stay green for the moment, yet to have a caution. We'll take our next break. You're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR Cup Series at North Wilkesboro Speedway, the 2025 NASCAR All-Star event. If you weren't tuned in at the very start of the stream, I do want to say not only thank you for everybody tuning in tonight, but also be sure to not only hit the like button, but vote for who you think is going to win tonight's race in our chat poll. Usually we keep that open to the end of stage 2. There are no stages with this being the All-Star race, so we're actually going to close that poll at lap 200 with 50 to go. Kyle Larson in his wayward working through the field is still back in the 15th place position. But considering he was 23rd, he's already up 8 spots. Noah Gragson will be the next highest mover of the guys who were in the open. He's up to 17th after starting technically one more row up, considering Larson had to drop to the back, and now Gragson just made a pass for 16th on Daniel Suarez, which adds quite a bit of an improvement for Gragson because he was actually 17th out of 18 cars in the open earlier, dropped like a rock from the start of the race. So they made some massive adjustments, and just having that extra 100 laps of track time really helped that Ford team at Front Row Motorsports. A replay shown as of during the commercial break, Carson Hocevar got up against the wall in turns 1 and 2. Got a little too far wide as he was trying to slip to the outside of Chase Briscoe to make a pass for position. That was a battle going on for 18th. These drivers at the tail end of the pack really trying to get going. They don't want to go a lap down before the halfway caution. Right now, John Hunter Nemechek and Harrison Burton are the last two in the leaderboard. Oh, we got problems. Caution's out for the first time. Daniel Suarez in the wall hard off turn 2. And I think he might have had his right front tire blow out. It looks to be low on air as he rounds his way to pit road. Caution is out for the first time. Again, Daniel Suarez looks to have blown a right front tire towards the exit of turn 2 and hits the wall pretty significantly. Bounces off of it, gets to pit road. And we're going to have our first reset of the race. Showing him off turn 4. Just before that. No, he did make contact with the wall before that. Car just went straight on him. Wow. And just right front tire failure. Over 50 laps into the run. Because of the way the competition cautions have been through the heat races through the open, that was actually the longest green flag run we've seen anybody make so far this weekend. And you wonder if that might have been the difference and why we might have seen that. Too much heat in the right front tire for too long. As we went about 58 laps before the first yellow. So as pit road opens this time by, we'll see who's going to make their way down. It looks like most of the field.
Well, everybody wants something. Bring him.
Mike Logano in the 22 car wired off very good as we saw there. But he made mention that at the end of the run, he felt like the right front started to go away, like it was starting to lose some grip. 4 tires for Joey in the 9th car. Chase Elliott felt like he could move around a lot, but he needed more turn with the fronts. Jamie.
William Byron in the 24, his teammate, little free to start, tight building, free to while this six of Brad Keselowski is called the code word, and he also said just 6 gallons of fuel. There he is in the 6th, but backed off the bat.
Away he goes with, I believe, just right side tires for Keselowski.
Yeah, William Byron did this.
It writes only for the top 3 positions exiting pit road. 4th on back will have 4 fresh tires. Joey Logano wins the race off pit road of those that took 4. Ross Chastain didn't take any tires. Well, that can't be right. He lost 3 positions on pit road, so I'd imagine he probably took 4 also. Fox's graphic showed him having none. The top 3, though, took right side tires only to gain some extra track position or keep it in the case of Brad Keselowski. So Brad Keselowski holds on to the race lead. Kyle Busch actually rolled off a pit road in 3rd. And William Byron was 2nd. Leaderboard isn't working, so I can't even track outside of the top 6. It's working on this screen, so that's good. Yeah, race off of pit road. Top dozen positions here. You got Brad Keselowski in first now. William Byron second. Kyle Busch third. Joey Logano in fourth. Christopher Bell fifth. Chase Elliott sixth. Ryan Blaney seventh. Alex Bowman eighth. Ross Chastain ninth. And Austin Cindric in 10th. 11th, Austin Dillon. 12th, Tyler Reddick. Again, this is our first caution of the event. Right front tire failure for Daniel Suarez as he was running right around the 16th place position at the time of the right front failure. Out of 23 cars. Still sitting at the 2 lead changes. Few laps under caution now. Just over 20 minutes from the start of the race to where we're at. 6 live commentary streams coming your way next weekend. We're going to have double headers on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday beginning with the ARCA race at 6 p.m. Eastern live on the channel. One of the few ARCA races that we've done commentary for this season. Followed by the Craftsman Truck Series race at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Again, that will be on Friday. So 6 p.m. Eastern, ARCA Friday. 8:30 p.m. Eastern, Truck Series on Friday. Saturday afternoon, we'll have a doubleheader where the NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying stream for the Coca-Cola 600 will be on at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. And at 4:30 p.m. Eastern later that same evening, the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And of course, the Indianapolis 500 double with the Coca-Cola 600 live right here on KRC. All 1,100 miles of action beginning with the Indianapolis 500 at 12 p.m. Eastern, followed by the Coca-Cola 600 later that night. Not sure exactly what time I'm going to go live for the 600 yet. I will post that in the community tab later on in the week. It just really depends on what time the Indy 500 gets done. Obviously, hopefully we don't have any overlap with it like we did last year with rain. So here we go. Keselowski outside of row 1 for the restart. Byron inside of row 1. Logano inside of row 2, which is where he was on the start, but he's got fresher lefts than the 2 drivers on the front row in front of him. Green flag back in the air. Great launch for Brad Keselowski. Kyle Busch in the 8, all over the back bumper of the 6, and trying to beat Keselowski to the outside. He's close. 3 wide for the lead. Up off of turn 2. Down the back straightaway. Kyle Busch just able to sneak his nose in there. And he might come out with the lead entirely if this thing sorts out off of turn 4. Busch leads that lap of the line. Keselowski still stuck in the middle, and Byron down low on the bottom. Christopher Bell and Joey Logano side by side for 4th. They're boxed in. Keselowski slides the rear tires in that middle groove up off of turn 2. Backed up a bit. Charges hard on the entry now into 3 and 4. Busch with a run up high again, getting the progressive banking run. And Kyle Busch is nearly clear for the lead. Great battle on the restart this time around between all 3 lanes. Keselowski is no longer in the battle for the lead. It's between Byron and Busch. Busch on the outside maybe goes a bit too far wide in 3 and 4. Costed him, and Byron's going to come out with the race lead at the line this time by. 4 different drivers have led a lap in the race. That's 2 more than we had all of last year's All-Star race, and we're only on lap 67. Byron, Logano, Busch, and Keselowski have all led. Big chunks of rubber coming off of some of those cars at the front portion of the pack. Now that Keselowski's in traffic for the first time really all weekend, I wonder how far back he's going to fall, especially with taking right sides only to try to keep track position. But Kyle Busch slipping to his outside of the restart costed him. Busch's set's been passed for second by Joey Logano. Byron still has the clean air advantage, but Joey's the first car on 4 fresh tires right behind our leader. Busch is in third, but he's holding up a pack of cars just behind him for that spot. Chase Elliott and Christopher Bell are door-to-door for position. That battle is going on for 4th, and Ryan Blaney has now slipped to the inside of Brad Keselowski for 6th. At the end of lap 70, we will still have a competition caution at lap 100, even with the Daniel Suarez right front tire failure that we already had at lap 58. That caution will not be the promoter's yellow, by the way. That will still be to come in the second half of the race. Christopher Bell almost clear for third on Kyle Busch. Chase Elliott wasn't able to make that pass. Bell was able to get by Elliott, and now he gets by Busch up off turn 4. He's clear. Bell started on the front row, but fell a few positions back on the opening couple laps of the race to about 5th. He's gotten a couple of them back. So it's as close to the lead as he's been really since the opening, again, couple laps into the race. So top 5, a handful of laps into the restart now, has William Byron in the lead by about 0.2 of a second over Joey Logano in P2. Bell is closing on the top 2 cars in front of him. He's 0.8 of a second off the lead in third. Fourth is Kyle Busch, 1.3 seconds back, and Chase Elliott a 1.5 seconds off the lead in 5th. Kyle Larson's up to 14th, make that 13th. As he battles Josh Berry and Alex Bowman. So we track Larson's wayward through the field after starting at the very tail. Not competitive throughout the weekend, surprisingly, Denny Hamlin. We know him to be a great short track racer. He was second to Joey Logano last year in the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro Speedway and had top 5 speed all the way throughout. But this year and this weekend, he has not had a lot of speed. He went backwards from the drop of the green flag in his heat race yesterday. Pretty much was the last car out of 9 or 10 in his heat the entire time. And here tonight, he's been fluctuating back and forth between about 19th and 20th the whole race, only outrunning Daniel Suarez, who had a right front tire failure and is more than likely out of the race right now. Suarez out of the race. And then he's outrunning a couple of the guys that were in the open, John Hunter Nemechek and a Rick Ware racing car of Harrison Burton. So definitely not great for Denny Hamlin. Joey Logano to the inside of Byron for the lead. He wasn't able to get by Keselowski on equal tires at the start, despite getting underneath him on several occasions. But with Byron having older left side tires, the pass for the lead could be made by Logano. As they come up off the exit of turn 4, he's not going to be clear. Nose to nose at the start-finish line. Still rounding the bottom of the racetrack at both ends of the raceway. Very well. Haven't really seen a car roll the bottom as well as Joey Logano has been able to do in these first 80 laps. Now Logano leads that lap by half a car length at the line, but again, still isn't clear. He's not able to drive in deep enough to try to slide up in front of Byron in turns 1 and 2, but by the exit of the corner, he slips up just a bit, makes a tiny bit of contact as Byron almost got squeezed against the wall. Now Logano well off the white line in 3 and 4, gets Byron up out of the groove enough, and Logano's clear. And Christopher Bell quickly to the inside of Byron for second now that Willie B's in slightly dirtier air on that outside lane, and Joey Logano takes over as the race leader. Second different time that Logano has led today. Christopher Bell for second is clear as he slides up off of turn 4 in front of the 24. So Joey Logano to the lead. William Byron is back to third behind our Mobil 1 Toyota Camry of Christopher Bell. Chase Elliott is up to 4th, and Ryan Blaney rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Kyle Busch and Brad Keselowski, who are on the right side tire only strategy. Same with Byron, have fallen to 6th and 8th. Byron obviously to 3rd. Everybody else took 4 tires during the pit stop. Keselowski about to lose another spot to that of Ross Chastain. Chastain gets underneath him in that battle for 8th.
Well, that's certainly the problem with putting 2 tires on. If you lose that track position, you get mired back in traffic and no longer have that upper hand. You lose the upper hand, you're in big trouble. That's what you're seeing. 6 car.
Especially when most of the cars have 4 tires.
83 complete. We expect the competition caution around lap 100. 16 laps from now. Kyle Busch, after a run at the lead, he is now in 6th place trying to hold back Austin Cindric.
Yeah, and Austin Cindric looked really good on the longer runs in the first run of this race. So it's not surprising that he would start to make a little bit of ground up as we go through the second half of this run towards halfway.
Well, they are double wide there. And for the next 3-4 rows behind them, a lot of great short track racing here at North Wilkesboro.
Oh,
This is as wide of a groove as we've seen on a short track in quite some time.
And I know I've said it before, Clint, but this racetrack is only going to get better as it ages, and I think it's going to continue to widen out as we run this race if we get green flag laps. So there's still some room to be able to make that lane get a little bit wider in 3 and 4. And really, when that starts to happen, is when these cars start to get tighter.
And Kyle Busch is able to fight off Austin Cindric, at least for the moment, for 6th place. Still, the lap times have hardly fallen off. Leader in the 1890s, go back to 20th place, and there's still 1920s, still about a 3/10 difference from the front of the field to the back. That's why you see all this side-by-side racing. As two of those Camaros go at it, Byron and Elliott for third.
This is about as much brake blowing on the Gen 7 cars I've ever seen, Kevin, on any short track.
Yeah, we see a lot of this at Richmond. But with the way that turn 1 is shaped here and how much you get loose under braking, you go into turn 1, kind of a flatter corner, and as you wait for that banking to ramp back up, so it's downhill as well. So this corner right here in turn 1, right there, the cars want to get loose, so they have to crunch them.
You almost wonder what just the speeds of having the fresh asphalt might be a difference in why the brakes could be glowing more and applying more brakes, because the overall lap times are quicker than what they would be. You're going faster down the straightaways than a Martinsville or a Bristol, even in this next-gen car. Kyle Larson going to try to pick up a couple passes in one lap as he goes 3 wide to the inside of Josh Berry and Tyler Reddick. As after Berry made just a little bit of contact with Reddick off of the corner just before that. Chase Elliott made a pass for Byron moments ago for third. Blaney going to do the same on the 24 car and a pass for fourth. So right side tires did not benefit well for the drivers that did stay out. There were only 3 of them, but the leader couldn't hold off the fast cars at the very front of the pack of Joey Logano and Christopher Bell, as the cream of the crop, as Randy Savage would say, continues to rise to the top. Lap number 95 this time by will be 5 laps away from our competition caution at lap 100. We'll go through the full field leaderboard for the first time today as Joey Logano leads by 0.8 of a second again over Christopher Bell. He's extended it a bit after taking his way to the front of the pack. Chase Elliott's 2.5 seconds off the lead in third, and Ryan Blaney is 2.8 seconds off the lead in fourth. Then you have William Byron in fifth. Kyle Busch is sixth. Austin Cindric seventh. Brad Keselowski eighth. Ross Chastain ninth. And Alex Bowman in 10th. Josh Berry 11th. Austin Dillon 12th. Tyler Reddick 13th. Kyle Larson 14th. And Noah Gragson in 15th. 16th place for Chase Briscoe. Chris Buescher 17th. Carson Hocevar 18th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 19th. Denny Hamlin rounds out the top 20. 21st for John Hunter Nemechek. Harrison Burton on the lead lap still, but in 22nd. And Daniel Suarez, the only car out of the race, last in 23rd tonight, as he had a right front tire failure at lap 58 and has since retired from the race following the crash. It's the only caution for incident we've had. We've had 5 lead changes, which again, consider we only had 2 last year. Crazy start to this All-Star race in the first 98 laps. Could this be the best one of the 3 at North Wilkesboro? So far, it's shaping up to be that way, but we still have another 150 laps of racing to go, which is a good thing. We got 150 laps of racing left, because it's been pretty good and pretty fun so far tonight. Lap times have fallen off a bit from the fastest laps of the race. About 0.4 of a second. That's over the course of almost 40 green flag laps on this 0.6 of a mile short track. Battle between Kyle Busch and Austin Cindric gonna end here prematurely as the caution lights are on and the competition yellow is upon us. So Logano the leader, second caution of the night. Again, cop yellow scheduled for lap 100. And here we are at the end of lap 100. Once that last car that was on the lead lap crossed the start-finish line, that's exactly when the yellow flag was supposed to wave, as it did. Caution laps count, obviously, tonight, with the extra 250 lap distance. Still got Christopher Bell third, Chase Elliott fourth, and Ryan Blaney third, rather, and then Ryan Blaney in fourth. Action-packed all-star race in North Wilkesboro Speedway continues. You're listening live on KRC. Pit road should be open this time by. I like the old school leaderboard they've got going on. Where's that? Over on the exit of turn 2?
Here we go. Pit road is open. And all takers. Regan.
Well, it could be bad news for the competition. Joey Logano told the team, the car is fine. I have no complaints. It's really good. Just leave it alone. In the 20 car, Christopher Bell. And Rick would get Johnny to made that time for him. Still needs more turn into the corner, though. Jamie?
William Byron in the 24 after that last stop, it took right. Let's a little loose on just right side tires. It's on your 4 for the 24.
You see right there, Christopher Bell in the front of the 22 car, Joey Logano. So great pit stop by that 20 team.
And Bell wins the race off pit road. And as Larry pointed out,
Everybody taking 4 tires. Nobody wants to take the gamble with 2 this time around. Maybe later in the race if we get a short enough of a run, but knowing that we still have 150 laps left, nobody was wanting to risk it. They'll top off on fuel, but they're still outside the fuel window to make it to the end of the race, as that will be about 120 to 130 laps with these next-gen cars at this racetrack. So about 20 to 30 laps shy on fuel to make it to the end. Christopher Bell, after winning the race off pit road, picked up a spot on Joey Logano to take the lead. Logano is now in second. You'll have Chase Elliott third for the restart, Ryan Blaney fourth, William Byron fifth off of pit road, Kyle Busch is sixth, Brad Keselowski seventh, Austin Cindric eighth, Josh Berry ninth, Ross Chastain 10th, and Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe rounding out the top dozen. We'll get our diecast showing in during the competition caution here at lap number 100 here tonight, since we don't have any stage breaks. And tonight we will have former All-Star Race winner Tony Stewart. And I figured because Christopher Bell was my pick to win the race and he's got the Mobil 1 paint scheme, I wanted to show off a Mobil 1 race car that I had. And this is one of 2 of them that I have. The other one I have still yet to show on the channel, which is a diecast I got in Talladega. I still haven't shown the new ones off yet, but here's this one, Tony Stewart. And this from 2014, I want to say. Let me look at it real quick. It doesn't say on the bottom of the car. I believe it is from 2014, though. If it's not 2014, it's 2013. Chevy SS. But yeah, the Mobil 1 cars have always looked pretty slick. I saw Tony Stewart won an NHRA earlier today, too, so kind of another reason I figured I'd show this. I noticed that they had the rest of the NHRA broadcast going on right before the start of the All-Star Open. I was also watching Indianapolis 500 qualifying throughout the day, so it was kind of neat that I was able to watch the first 12 go to see who was going to make the Fast 6 for the Indianapolis 500 pole. And then in between the Open and the All-Star main event, I got to watch them finish out their second round. So congratulations, by the way, to rookie and first-time team in the Indianapolis 500 of Robert Schwartzman for getting the pole. First rookie to qualify in the pole in the Indianapolis 500 since 1983. And again, that is the first time that that team has entered the Indianapolis 500 as a race team. So new race team, rookie driver. He's never raced an oval before. Really a great story. And he's going to be leading the Indianapolis 500 to the green next Sunday. Again, I will be on the call for that race right here on the channel. There's 6 live commentary streams next weekend. Again, ARCA and trucks on Friday. Cup practice qualifying and Xfinity racing Saturday. And the main events on Sunday. The co-headliners, if you will. The Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 right here on the channel. shaping up for the next restart. Showing the manufacturer showdown. I'm not going to keep an eye on that because that seems like it's going to be way too confusing for me to calculate. So we're not really going to know who's going to win it by the very end of the race anyway. I haven't been tracking that all night. Apologize if anybody wanted to let you know how that's going. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Green flag is in the air. Christopher Bell is going to have the lead up off turn 2 on Joey Logano. Best restart we've seen from anybody as a control car so far today, which really has only been Brad Keselowski the first 2 restarts. Joey Logano, who's had good short run speed obviously tonight, is going to stay right there with Christopher Bell as he looks right behind him for that race lead after losing it in the pits. Side-by-side battle for a third between Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney for the entirety of these first couple of laps following the restart. 3 wide in the middle of the pack, right around Cindric and Barry. Barry gets squeezed against the wall by Cindric. Chastain was underneath him. Looked like he gave him enough room, but Cindric a bit wide on his affiliated teammate. That Dex Imaging paint scheme that Josh Berry has this weekend reminds me of the Citgo paint schemes from back in the 90s. On that Wood Brothers machine. I don't know how much of it is an actual throwback to it, but it does remind me of it a bit. Chase Elliott up to third. Hasn't won a points paying race since Texas, but he won the other exhibition race at the Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium on a short track earlier this season. And here he is up in third looking for a win here, and we've got a caution. Ross Chastain is around. And he's got quite a bit of damage, it looks like, to the left front of his race car. Not a good night for Trackhouse Racing. My goodness. He's got some damage to the left rear as well. He definitely had help. That was not a self-spin. And a lot of damage on the 2 of not Brad Keselowski, Austin Cindric. And that's probably where the damage to the left front of Chastain came from. Cindric made contact just a couple laps before that. Josh Berry. Cindric, 3 wide middle. And 3 wide on a short track just didn't work that time. Quite a bit of damage to the right front of Cindric's car. Alex Bowman was underneath both the 2 and the 1 as they were 3 wide. And most of that contact and most of that damage coming with Chastain and Cindric. Bowman pretty much gets off relatively scot-free and remains in the top 10 in 8th place. All 3 of those guys were in the back half of the top 10. Not going to be the end of the night for Chastain. We'll have to wait and see if Cindric will be able to continue to run and keep pace. Otherwise, he may join Daniel Suarez as out and in the garage. Yeah, SVG not making it to the All-Star main event despite having a quick car in the open, starting from the pole, and Suarez right front tire failure, and now Ross Chastain caught up in the second incident of our All-Star main event. $35 likes on the stream on our goal to get to 50. Again, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content, live commentary streams like this every NASCAR race weekend. Truck Xfinity Cup races, practice and qualifying for the Cup Series. Next weekend, we'll have ARCA as well, as it's the biggest weekend in motorsports. And obviously, that means we'll have the Indianapolis 500 live commentary also. That is next weekend. We continue our All-Star race coverage tonight. We'll take a quick break, and we'll have the next restart coming shortly. Continues as Christopher Bell is our race leader. 7 lead changes tonight amongst 5 different drivers have led at least 1 lap in the race. Those 5 drivers would be Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, and William Byron. Most laps led is still Brad Keselowski in this one. Joey Logano's led for 26, 13 for our current race leader, Christopher Bell, 12 for William Byron, 62 for the pole sitter, Keselowski, tonight. And all those drivers still remain in the top 7 of those 5. In contention, depending on how strategy could lay itself out. We haven't seen the final pit stop yet. I don't expect many to come to pit road this time. We only had about a dozen green flag laps, if that. Between the restart from the comp yellow at lap 100 and that caution and incident involving Ross Chastain and Austin Cindric off of turn 2. Bell had a great restart, was able to hold on to the lead earlier. Now we're going to see if he can have another great restart, get out to another lead over Joey Logano. Short replay there. Austin Cindric, 3 wide middle and make contact a couple different laps apart from one another. First with Josh Berry and then the incident with Chastain. You saw the Berry contact live when it happened. Berry still remains in 9th. Obviously, Cindric, after the Chastain deal, is now outside the top 20 and currently off the lead lap. I'm not sure if he is still in the race or not. But he is off the lead lap. It appears to be 2 laps down on our leaderboard. About to head to the next restart between Logano and Bell on the front row again. I'm sure Bell has elected the outside lane. Yes, he has. No, actually, Bell taking the inside of row 1. Interesting here. We've only seen the outside be taken by the front row car, and this might come back to haunt Christopher Bell because Joey Logano had a great restart in that outer line. And he's going to hang on tightly. And he's going to be in that prime position to try to have the lead here, but Bell was trying something a bit different. Didn't work. I'm surprised that he did that. His picker did a great job getting in the lead off pit road. Bell's going to lean on Logano a bit on the second lap after the restart in turns 1 and 2. And do whatever he can to try to hold side by side with the 22 car. It's great on the bottom in 3 and 4. Bounces off of him again. Logano might have gotten a piece of the wall that time. He was awfully close. Bell's leaned on him a few times now. Doing whatever he can to get back into the gas as soon as he can and just stay side by side with the 22 to keep the battle on. He's not going to win that battle anymore. And now he's going to have to set the pass up from his back bumper. Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott battle for third just as they did the last restart. Elliott won that battle earlier. Ryan Blaney trying to win it this go around. Blaney up on the high side, Elliott on the bottom. Rolls kind of reversed from where they were the last restart. But they're still side by side. Byron and Busch just behind the 9 and the 12. Elliott bottomed out on the inside of the racetrack. Saw some sparks off of the left side of the race car. It's a big dip on the inside off of turn 4. Just above that white line that tend to see the car bounce and shake up the racetrack on several occasions. Second lap in a row, just saw the car bottom out for Chase Elliott. Sparks coming out from underneath the left side of it, and still able to stay alongside the 12, but it's definitely not helping his drive off as the car wiggles around a bit. On top of the fact that he was already on the inside line with not as much progressed banking as the outside, and that also probably doesn't help. Inside is the preferred line through 3 and 4 until you get to that bump, and if you're pinned to the inside of another car, you can't rotate all the way out to the wall. It's tough to really make this pass complete, not being overly dirty. Blaney cleared Elliott. Elliott got back underneath him for a brief moment again through 3 and 4. Now Blaney takes his line away to the bottom of the track in turns 1 and 2. Top two are just over a second ahead of that battle for third. Brad Keselowski gets passed by Kyle Larson. Larson up to 8th. After starting in last with no practice, no qualifying, no heat races, no laps on the racetrack coming into the evening. Slide job in turns 1 and 2, able to clear high and Keselowski. Brad going to try the crossover down to the bottom of the track now in 3 and 4. Larson just able to stay to the outside, but he's definitely going to be in the prime position to hold on to this spot, especially with having what seems to be a slightly better race car. Having more cautions in this race than what we had last year, too, allows for more restarts for Larson to come to the back, to the front. He's got 50 extra laps in the race, and he's making the most of it again, up to 8th. It's been a slow working progress, but we still have a second half of this race nearly to go. We're just past halfway. So there is definitely time to get up there. Sid Vick, welcome to the stream. Just over 50 minutes from the initial drop of the green flag to where we're at right now, as we have completed 134 out of 250 laps. Our race leader is Joey Logano. For the third different time today he has led. Christopher Bell is in second, Ryan Blaney third, Chase Elliott fourth, William Byron in fifth. And then you got Kyle Busch in sixth, Alex Bowman seventh, Kyle Larson eighth, Brad Keselowski ninth, Josh Berry rounds out the top 10. Chase Briscoe in 11th, Noah Gragson 12th, Tyler Reddick 13th, Austin Dillon 14th, and Carson Hocevar 15th. 16th for Chris Buescher, Denny Hamlin 17th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 18th, Ross Chastain 19th, and John Hunter Nemechek in 20th. Gets 2 laps down in 22nd. Daniel Suarez out of the race, had a right front tire failure at lap 58. So he is done for the night. Only car out of 23 that started this All-Star main event. Another shout out to another driver who started at the back, working their way forward. Noah Gregson's up to 12th. Just quietly, slowly but surely moving his way up through the field. Had the 100 laps with the All-Star Open, and wanted to make sure I gave him a shout out for it because, again, he was 17th out of 18 cars that finished in the Open, but won the fan vote, got in. So he goes basically from being 37th out of 38 cars on the grid on speed, and now he's up to 12th. That's a huge turnaround in the span of just over half of this main event. They've had a couple of pit stops during the race to also make some adjustments on top of whatever adjustments they made between the Open and the main event, but they've definitely taken some big swings in the right direction at Front Row Motorsports on that team. It's the only Front Row Motorsports Ford in the main event, too, so they probably had the full focus on that team to try to get whatever setup they could. This is their only shot to have a good run tonight. Yeah, I'd say it's a good race so far. Full screen commercial break is currently going on right now on Fox Sports 1. This is the last race on Fox Sports 1 this season or any sort of Fox network for the NASCAR Cup Series. It will turn to Amazon Prime for the next 5 weeks. Prime has been taking care of all the first half of the practice and qualifying side of things outside of the Daytona 500 All-Star Race and Clash this year for the Fox coverage for when they've had the races. But again, Amazon Prime will have the next 5 races and then, again, practice and qualifying as they've had for most of the first half of the year as well. It begins next weekend with the Coca-Cola 600. We'll have full, regular flag-to-flag commentary as we do every NASCAR race weekend. Lead is still 0.7 of a second for Logano over Bell. 1.6 seconds to Ryan Blaney in third, and a big gap back to Chase Elliott now in fourth. He's 4.1 seconds off the lead. Alex Bowman has moved up 3 positions since the commercial break from 8th to 5th. And Kyle Larson still only up that 1 spot on Keselowski to get to 8th right before the break. So Bowman is on the surge all of a sudden. So 2 Hendrick cars up in the top 5, all 4 of them in the top 8, but none of them in the top 3. Ovals, flat short ovals in the NASCAR Cup Series, it's been Logano, Bell, Blaney, and they're 1 through 3 right now. All year last year, it was those 3 winning races on this style of racetrack. And here we are yet again at North Wilkesboro, and it's these 3 up at the front. Would not be surprised if they all made it to the championship 4. This could be the battle for the championship late in the year as well. We'll take a quick break. And again, they should be coming back for commercial very soon. Haha. 102 laps left at North Wilkesboro Speedway in tonight's All-Star race. 10 lead changes, 3 cautions for 20 caution laps. Remember, we still have the promoter's caution that has to be used before lap 220. And as of right now, we are at 100 laps to go. It's got to be used before 30 to go. So 70 laps. Somewhere in there, we will end up having a yellow. And if a caution comes out after lap 200, or from lap 200 onward, if the promoter's yellow has not been used yet, then it cannot be used for the rest of the race after that. So we're guaranteed to restart with 50 to go or less. But we just don't know when. So the lead is not safe for Logano. Not safe otherwise, considering Bell's only about 0.8 of a second behind him. Faintly see the tail end of the field on the same straightaway as the leaders when they get off of one corner from the next. Maybe only a couple cars at the very tail end of the pack that could go a lap down. Nemechek, Harrison Burton, Stenhouse, Buescher are the last 4. Chastain and Cindric, who probably came down and got tires. Cindric obviously still 22nd because he's 2 laps down, but Chastain's 17th now for being involved in that last incident. A 2-car breakaway space, then 1 car on an island by himself, that being Ryan Blaney in 3rd, another space, and then basically 4th on back. Even, actually, Chase Elliott's got about a 1.5 seconds over Alex Bowman behind him in 5th. Kyle Larson had the fastest lap on the racetrack in 7th place that last time by. He passed William Byron for that spot during the commercial break. He was the only driver to run a sub 19-second lap time on that lap. Now he ran a 19:01, and Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano ran 18:9. So trading lap times back and forth there, but definitely has a car capable of winning if he could get the track position. Larson looking to make a move on Busch for 6 up on the high side. Busch down low on the bottom. Larson going to get a pretty big run on him off turn 2. He's going to do the same thing through 3 and 4. He's widening that groove out on that area of the racetrack. Really not seeing anybody utilize the outside as much as Larson has done in turns 3 and 4 specifically. Busch looks like he might have actually gotten against the wall up off of turn 2. His car seems to be a little too tight. Larson down on the bottom, not able to make the pass on Kyle Busch or stay alongside of him up off turn 4, and he'll have to try the top again. Since he's caught Busch, his lap times have slowed down just a little bit. Christopher Bell down in the 18.9s at last lap, same for Logano. So again, just trading lap times back and forth at the very front of the field. Hasn't been as much movement on the interval side of things with those top 3 positions. Elliott continues to fall back and forth off of where the leaders are at. a consistent lap time basis. Those three and Larson seem to be the quickest four of this race right now, especially the longer the green flag run goes, which so far has spawned just over 40 laps.
Hocevar, our open winner, hasn't made as much ground. I thought he would maybe make a little bit more noise from the back of the field.
Remember, he's been against the wall at least once.
That we've seen.
Yes. Breaks into the bottom, Hocevar to the top against Austin Dillon. 12th place at stake here.
I really like this tire that Goodyear has brought. We took this tire to Bowman Gray. It seemed to be pretty racy here, lays down a lot of rubber. I think that's really helped this particular racetrack widen out because of that soft tire.
So I think that's the biggest part of it. But why you're seeing this racetrack, we've been here before. This isn't the first time. This is without a doubt as wide as we've seen this racetrack.
Larson's in the wall, just touched the fence, sorry, down there in 3 and 4 right in front of this group.
Yeah, sounds like you're watching Kyle Larson.
I was. It's pretty exciting to see him doing the things that he's doing, but he had a big moment down there.
Well, he made it back here in time for the All-Star race. Actually flew back to Charlotte this morning after qualifying 21st yesterday for the Indianapolis 500 that you'll see on Fox next Sunday. And then he'll jet down to Charlotte for the Coca-Cola 600 and try to become only the second driver in history to complete all laps of the Memorial Weekend double. The Indianapolis 500 and the Coca-Cola 600. Tony Stewart, the only driver who has done so and completed every lap of both races among the drivers who have attempted it. Tough day Friday, as Larson found the wall. And then in qualifying, the first round of qualifying, not great for Larson. They had a lot of downforce in the car just to get a clean set of laps in. Then he went back out, bettered at 21st. It's where he will start the 500 on Sunday. 7 times in history, the 500 has been won from 21st on back. Johnny Rutherford, the last to do it.
And now we see Kyle Larson go past Harrison Burton right there and start the process of lapping cars.
"82 laps to go." As you watch our aerial coverage of this battle provided by Goodyear, best seat in the house since 1925. Happy 100th birthday. Goodyear won.
Look at how fast that 5 car ran back down the 8, but there's just nowhere for Larson to go. Same thing with Kyle Busch. Alex Bowman has migrated that group that both of these guys are running, and now Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch are stuck behind Alex Bowman running the same lane.
80 to go with Joey Logano leading Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney, and Chase Elliott as we go box side by side once more.
All right, we'll go through the full field leaderboard with just under 80 laps left then. A 1-second lead for Joey Logano over Christopher Bell in second, Ryan Blaney in third, Chase Elliott fourth, and Alex Bowman in fifth. Sixth is still Kyle Busch with Kyle Larson in seventh. Behind him, William Byron in eighth. Brad Keselowski ninth, and Josh Berry rounds out the top 10. 11th for Chase Briscoe, Austin Dillon 12th, Carson Hocevar 13th, Tyler Reddick 14th, and Noah Gragson in 15th. 16th for Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin 17th, Chris Buescher 18th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 19th, and Harrison Burton, the first car lap down in 20th. 21st for John Hunter Nemechek, Austin Cindric 22nd, and Daniel Suarez out of the race in 23rd. 6 spots gained on the restart for Ross Chastain, most positions gained of any driver, up 3 spots for both Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman. Up 1 for Logano to get to the lead. 75 laps to go for Joey Logano, our race leader. Caution flag is out for the 4th time today, and Brad Keselowski has a problem. Oh my goodness. Right front tire, looks like. Actually, it might be the toe link, the way the car is swaying around. I wonder if he got against the wall and broke the toe link. So caution for incident at lap 177. So obviously this is not the promoter's caution, which is still in the back pocket of NASCAR's disposal. And it has to be used before lap 220, which is just over 40 laps from now. But it can't be used after lap 200 if there's a caution for incident at that point or later. So we're guaranteed one more yellow the rest of the way. With that being said, what will these pit stops bring? Oh my gosh. Keselowski's car is all sorts of broke as he brings it back to pit road. Tough break continues. That right front tire is barely being held together. Damage might be terminal for the 6. Like he just overdrove the corner. Got up into the marbles down in, it looks like turns 3 and 4. We haven't seen too many drivers run a very high line over there, but the group has widened out a bit. Keselowski seemed to have just gotten above the rubber into that gray area where the loose rubber will be laying around, as again called the marbles, and slaps the wall after the fact. Pit road is open. Everybody's coming in.
I don't know, a little bit too loose to start the runs off, but it gets too tight as he goes. They're trying to equate out the amount of laps left in this race with what they just ran, a little bit less than what they just ran in the 20 car of Christopher Bell. Just a little bit of turn for the restarts, but he does not want to mess with the rear of the car. It feels like the rear of the car is driving well. Jamie?
But Kermit hits for fifth. He says he took off, and at that time was a little tight in the center, but both ends of the racetrack, so air pressure adjustment, 4 tires for the Ally 48 there.
2 tires for Kyle Larson, and he's going to beat everybody off pit road.
Oh boy.
It's getting interesting.
Larson takes right side tires only. Nobody else does. Everybody takes 4, so if anybody can do it, maybe it's Kyle Larson, who can hang on with right sides only. First time he's led today. He is now the 6th different driver to lead a lap. It is our 12th lead change, and we shall see what's going to happen. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live on KRC to the NASCAR All-Star Race 2025 edition. Once again, a reminder that we will end the chat poll at lap 200. So if you haven't voted for who you think is going to win tonight's All-Star Race, be sure to do so. You have about 20 more laps. This thing is definitely heating up, though. On the line. Kyle Larson trying to go for his 4th career All-Star Race victory, which, if I'm not mistaken, would tie Jimmy Johnson for the most all-time. If he is able to get the win. He's the only driver with more than 2 of any active driver in the field. In fact, Joey Logano is the only other driver that has more than 1 All-Star Race victory of any active driver in the field outside of Kyle Larson also. So Larson, Logano, Bell, Elliott, Blaney, Bowman will be the top 6, and more than likely those front 3 rows on the ensuing restart, which again will be with a little less than 70 laps to go. Well, Larson won last week at Kansas, so just trying to keep his momentum up here as of late. Tied for the most wins on the season with Christopher Bell, and both of them are in contention for the win, but can he hold on older left side tires? That last restart, we saw 3 drivers take right sides only, and they went backwards after several laps. Byron held on the best, only fell to about 4th, but still fell out of the lead, and only the winner will take home $1 million as a grand prize bonus. Green flag is in the air, and it's Larson who gets a great launch on the restart outside of row 1 with Joey Logano and Christopher Bell just behind him. Logano trying to slip to the inside. He's done a great job being able to do that up off turn 2 all day today. Now in turns 3 and 4, hooks the white line all the way through the corner. Bell's going to get pinched off. He couldn't go 3 wide middle. He's stuck behind both of them for the moment. Nose to nose as they cross the start-finish line between Larson and Logano. Larson not having anybody else on right side tires only is going to make this very difficult for him. Joey Logano pushing hard on the inside. Larson wide through 3 and 4. Leads another lap at the line as he's in defense mode. Both Larson and Logano chase their cars up the hill a little bit through 1 and 2. It's been a clean battle for position so far. Next side-by-side battle isn't until Chase Briscoe and Alex Bowman for 6th, as 2nd through 5th are single file behind the 2 leaders, who have been side-by-side every lap since the restart. Larson way up the racetrack at 1 and 2. Logano didn't go as wide that time, and he's almost cleared off turn 2. He's going to drive it in extraordinarily deep now through 3 and 4. Logano is clear. Bell now going to try to attack for 2nd on Larson. Larson up on the high side. Bell's going to have to get it done down low on the bottom. But Joey Logano leads yet again here at North Wilkesboro Speedway in the All-Star race. Bell clear for 2nd up off of turn 4. It just doesn't seem like those right side tires are enough to help Larson stick to the racetrack. He needs 4, but he was back in 7th, and we know we're going to get a promoter's caution at some point, which could allow for even more pit stops depending on when that flies. We went green at lap 183, which would have been with 68 laps to go. So we'll tally that to whenever the next caution will end up coming out. And again, if a caution comes out for incident after lap 200, then the promoter's caution will not be had. But we are guaranteed at least a yellow somewhere in there. Chase Elliott to the inside of his teammate for 3rd. Elliott and Blaney have pretty much been 3rd and 4th most of this race between one another. One of them gets ahead of the other on a restart. It seems like the very next restart, the other gets ahead of the other. That was the case again. Elliott sliding up off the bump on the inside of the racetrack off turn 4. Kept him from being able to clear Larson. So he had a lot of momentum until then. We'll try it again through 3 and 4 this time. Hooked down to the bottom of the racetrack. Larson up way wide. Larson again able to hold on for 3rd. He's just trying to hold on to the promoter's yellow at this point, and then go from there. Austin Dillon up inside the top 10 for the first time into 9th. And Carson Hocevar, who won the Open earlier today, is up to 11th. It's the highest running driver of any of the 3 that were in the Open earlier this evening. 58 laps to go. Another side-by-side commercial break on Fox Sports 1. It still shows Justin Allgaier on the pylon on the commercial break leaderboard at the top of the screen, dropping the 5, and not Larson. Bell's closed the gap a bit, though, on Joey Logano. He's closer to him now than what he was the entire last green flag run while running in 2nd. Logano had about a 1-second lead before Brad Keselowski's incident bringing out the last yellow. Elliott's failed pass attempt might allow for Ryan Blaney to get by Elliott for 4th. Elliott looks to the inside. Blaney right there behind him. Larson continues to run the top of the racetrack into a good success. Blaney to the left rear corner panel of Elliott, trying to use the chrome horn Get him up out of the way. Gregson, Hamlin, Reddick. Outside the top 10, they were nearly 3 wide for position off of turn 2 that last lap. Last lap, Joey Logano was about 6/1000ths of a second slower than our race leader, Christopher Bell. That was it, though. 6/1000ths of a second is not a lot of time to be gained or lost one way or another. Almost even. 18.8s right now being ran by the 22 and the 20. Larson in third had an 18.9. Same for Elliott and Blaney and Bowman. Third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Logano's fastest lap was still back on lap 6 with an 18.583. Fastest laps of the race on this last restart for Bell, Larson, Elliott, Blaney, Bowman, Dillon, and Briscoe in the top 10. They all ran their fastest lap of the race on this last restart. 3 pit stops we've had so far in the race to be able to make adjustments and just overall maybe pushing a little bit harder. Track temp continues to drop as we get further into the night. The air and ambient temp continues to drop. Track is going to gain more overall grip. More rubbered in. Overall, more and more faster laps. Promoter's yellow has to be used before lap 220. Is that Michael Waltrip up on the flag stand? Is he going to be the guy giving the promoters yellow? Go figure, this is a Fox thing. Go figure it's a Fox thing that we're going to... Oh my gosh. Leave it to be what has been a serious race so far to become non-serious very quickly here. If we do get a caution for incident, though, then we will not have the promoter's yellow because we are past lap 200. Michael Waltrip is dancing on the flag stand. It kind of didn't look like him because he's got a jacket, a Winston jacket, and a backwards hat. I don't know what I'm watching here. Waltrip was talking to the fans behind him 5 laps. Oh, jeez. Yeah, so we're going to get a caution very shortly here. Let's click by a few more laps. The fact that we've got side by side with Michael Waltrip on the flag stand for about 5 laps with the racing on the left. Good old Fox. I noticed some of their coverage of Indy 500 qualifying earlier, too. They were cutting back from commercial break, and they'd be right in the middle of somebody's run. Primarily in that round of 12. They didn't do it in the Fast 6, thankfully, but round of 12. Come back from commercial break on several occasions. Somebody would already have 2 of their 4 laps in. Like, what are we doing here? This is for the Indianapolis 500. Seeing who's going to be going for the pole and got half of their qualifying run under commercial. $40 to go this time by. Michael Waltrip saying 5 laps again. He said 5 laps ago. He's really milking this out. Oh, is he going for it now? I don't know what I'm watching. What's the booth talking about?
Blaney goes back to the top, continuing that battle.
Yeah, do you see that entry has really opened up into turn one? See Bell high and Larson right up against the fence.
$38 laps to go. And Blaney finally got to the inside again on Elliott, but nothing there.
No, you see the massive difference in speed right there at the end of the front straightaway from the two different lanes.
Bell has gone to the bottom, trying to close in on Logano. He's got it down to half a second. There is third and fourth. Larson backing up. Elliott's going to pass him on the back straightaway. And so is Blaney.
Yeah.
Hit the wall, didn't he?
Yeah, Larson hit the wall on the entry to turn one. He got up too high and it slapped the back.
Michael, you better do it.
And he does. Larson wins. There's the All-Star Promoters Caution.
You saw the right rear toe link broke.
Yeah, fireworks going on for the promoters yellow. What the heck is this?
Pyrotechnics all
Mike's
counted.
Dropped the flag.
Oh my gosh.
Michael has dropped the flag.
He really dropped the flag?
No, he really dropped the flag on the front straightaway.
Oh my gosh.
No. You have one job.
Mikey.
We tried to get him to tape it to his hand.
I told you guys in a preparation meeting to this, you better tape it to his head.
And this is why every professional flagman brings a backup yellow flag.
Yeah, but what about that one, Mike?
That one's gone.
It's on the racetrack.
Look, we were at Gateway last year. Michael dropped his phone on the racetrack. Now he drops the yellow flag on the track. Come on, Mikey, you have one job. He dropped a taco on Denny's trunk.
he's dropping stuff.
Yeah, drop.
Oh, man. Only Michael Waltrip.
Yeah. You just tried too hard. All right, we're under caution, hopefully, for the last time tonight, but don't bet on it. Caution at lap 216 for Michael Waltrip. Drops flag.
That's
Yeah.
the first time you've ever written anything like that. Now, I have seen the green flag dropped.
Yes.
I have seen that happen as well.
Yeah, different honorary starters. Somebody, mistimes it. Let's go of it, but
This was getting interesting. Christopher Bell was actually catching him as a leader, Logano.
yes.
And so that black car was on fire too on these two tires.
I think that
Got a little bit too high in 1 and 2. I was watching Bell and Larson starting to creep in on the leader, Logano. All right, Larry, you say 2 tires is your call, right?
No question, but I'm telling you, watch the middle of the pack. We're going to go back racing probably with about, 20 to 25 to go? You didn't come here to do anything but win. What do you want? A nice solid night? Does nothing for you.
And that's the problem with pitting, is half the field decides to stay out and everybody else comes in, you're done.
Austin Cindric gets the free pass. He is the only car 1 lap down with Keselowski and Suarez.
Golly. I think you gotta go.
Whoa!
Penske stayed out.
Stay out. Only 2. Well, no, got some help. Looks like Kosovar and Chastain, but this is gonna be good.
Regan.
Oh boy.
Like it was a very late call for that 22 car to stay out. They were indecisive halfway down the back straightaway. As for the 20 car, Christopher Bell, the call was Batman. They made the decision very early.
Michael Waldrop.
Still with the
Oh!
Trouble on pit road here, back in Kyle Larson's pit box. Ben totally they coming up with a plan right now to fix it as quickly as possible. You see the right side of the car is raised up, came in and pitted from fifth. Kyle Larson came on the radio and said, sorry guys.
Well, the collision on pit road involved Noah Gregson, and John Hunter Nemechek had to stop and had to wait for Gregson to back up before he could get in his pit.
Yeah, Gregson and Bell made contact. Bell was leaving his pit box as Gregson was coming in. Sideswiped the right side of the 20. So Penske staying out of the racetrack. Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney are going to be 1 and 2. Logano, I believe, has led the most laps in this race. 120 laps led. Keselowski led just over 60 after starting on the pole. Brad's done. He got in a wreck earlier on. 62 laps led for Keselowski. 17 for Christopher Bell, who was first off a pit road of those that took 4 tires. The top 5 stayed out. So Logano, Blaney, Chastain, Hocevar, and Burton all stayed out of the pits. I think having Chastain and Hocevar row 2, Joey Logano, Chastain, and Hocevar in the front 2 rows on this restart. I'd feel bad for Ryan Blaney because I think something's happening to him here. I don't think he's going to get out of there scot-free. Or maybe they wreck around him and he's the one that ends up with the lead. I don't know if we've seen our last caution. That's what I'm getting at. $1 million on the line to the All-Star Race winner. We'll have less than 30 laps to go on the restart. It's going to be fun to call, I can tell you that much. I think the good thing for Logano and Blaney, there's going to be some cars behind them who also stayed out of the pits. And I think whoever comes out with the lead on the restart, which I would probably bank it on Logano being the leader off of the restart. I was shocked that Blaney beats him. I mean, Joey Logano is just so good on restarts. We saw it at Texas a couple weeks ago. These two were on the front row, and Logano beat him both times. Pretty easily at that. It's going to be the controlled car, and it'll be on the outside of row 1. Blaney on the inside, 28 to go. Green flag back in the air. How long can the 12 hold it to the inside of the 22? Did a pretty good job. Christopher Bell going to go 3 wide to the bottom. A couple cars get squeezed wide. Chase Elliott, Harrison Burton making contact towards the outside, but we stay green. Logano's got the lead off turn 4. Blaney in second. Bell is underneath of Hocevar for 4th as the first driver in 4 fresh Goodyears. Couple rows of 3x3 through the center of turns 1 and 2. It is going to be a mess back there. Chastain sails it off to the outside into 3 and 4 as he tries to beat Blaney. Blaney slides the rear tires, almost spun out off turn 4. Bell and Hocevar split 3 wide around him. And now he's going to get eaten up by everybody else on fresher tires around him. And that's one less buffer car to get to Joey Logano, our race leader, on the older tires. Blaney's really sliding the rears a ton right now. Harrison Burton is too on the older tires, but Logano, Chastain, Hocevar for the most part still holding on well. 1st, 2nd, and 4th. Chastain way wide in 3 and 4. Bell almost cleared him. Christopher Bell to the bottom of the track again through turns 1 and 2. Chastain up high, Bell clear off turn 2, and he's got his eyes set after Joey Logano. 23 laps to go this time by.
The faster car right now obviously doesn't have any damage from that pit road incident.
It was catching him slowly but surely before that caution came out by Michael Waltrip. Likes the outside. Here he comes. Don't give him that outside.
Yeah, he's going to have to move up.
Try to cross him over. A lot of momentum.
Alex Bowman is on the charge.
Making that car as wide as possible, but Bell finds room on the inside.
Bell's got to make this pass quick. The 48's coming.
When you get into those positions where you're trying to aero block a little bit.
Look at that car rotate. It's time to move him up, Kevin. He's loose.
Oh!
He's into him.
Can't hold him down. Contact.
He got loose getting in the corner and slid up into the side of the 22 car.
And that brings Chastain and Alex Bowman into the picture.
Bell's getting restless.
Front bumper, and if they don't work this out, Ross Chastain is going to be there in a hurry.
20 laps to go for $1 million.
Yeah, you can't guard on the bottom for long because Chastain's going to be on the outside.
Bell sliding the rears too much. Oh, now he's going to beat him to the outside. Oh, but he overdrove it. He overdrove it.
Bowman grinding it out on the bottom. No gain.
And if Joey Logano doesn't figure the top of this racetrack out or get up there and at least defend, he's going to have to deal with them again.
But he's got them doing exactly what he needed them to do, heating these tires up. See, Bell really abusing the tires, sliding around. They do not like to get hot. Sliding them around certainly does that.
Now Chastain has to deal with Bowman on the inside. A Ford, a Toyota, and 2 Chevys battling for the All-Star Big Prize. Bowman to third.
Bell's regaining control on the outside. It's where he wanted to be. It's where he was making some hay before the caution came out.
Yeah, when you make those mistakes, you get yourself up into the loose stuff. It takes a lap or two to get everything off of those tires, and it's definitely equalized up front right now.
Chastain back after Bowman again for third. Well, the All-Star race is fun. 250 laps. How would you like to see a full-on cup race here?
Oh, man. At 400 laps at this racetrack in the middle of the afternoon. Unbelievable how this racetrack has progressed into a multi-lane racetrack in 2 years.
Well, and just think, I mean, we haven't even seen lap traffic really be a part of this race. And you put all of them out there at once, you would certainly see a lot more lap traffic and force these guys off that preferred group.
Well, here's a quick look at today's big move, sponsored by Pods. And it is Joey Logano's move to secure the lead on the caution flag and feint to pit road.
Well, you might see again. He's right back to his bumper, guys. There he is, looking to the inside.
They get side by side. That allows Chastain to close in.
It can't be side by side.
Oh,
I think you got it. Oh, this is exactly what he wants.
Oh, he's
Getting
there.
it outside.
You see Logano run him up the racetrack.
he's going to have to be mean. He's just going to have to ship him.
To see it. Out his windshield.
Joey's just going to keep running him up the racetrack like that.
Inside.
Chastain is definitely still a contender because of the fact that Joey Logano is not going to be an easy pass.
You're going to have to take it from him.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but that's, if you're going to win this race, you're going to do it off your front bumper. To the outside he goes.
But Logano is clear.
See him moving.
Oh, big block. Now he's going to run him up.
See him use the right side of that car. He's got a half a car length on Joey Logano.
Here comes
On
Chastain.
the back straightaway.
Joe's running down the
9 laps to go. Bell runs Logano up the groove. Into the lead goes Christopher Bell off of turn 4. 9 laps remaining. Chastain now going to try to slip to the outside of the 22. And he does get there with a little bit of contact. Bell has the freshest tires of the top 3, though. Chastain was another one of the drivers who stayed out of the pits, much like Joey Logano. Logano trying to hold on for second in case we see another caution. And he can line up on the front row for another late race restart. But for right now, it's Bell who's starting to pull away after making the pass for the race lead and could be the pass for $1 million. 7 laps remain on the 6/10 of a mile oval. Kyle Larson, lap car, will be caught by the leaders, but nobody else. I would imagine he's going to pull out of the way. He's got damage following hitting the wall in turns 1 and 2, just a few laps before the promoter's yellow, with around 30 laps left. This will be a 28-lap green flag run to the checker, assuming it does stay green. The lead between Bell and Logano is about 4 to 5 car lengths. Christopher Bell has never won the All-Star race. And Joey Logano won the All-Star race last year at North Wilkesboro Speedway, won the championship. Bell already has 3 race wins on the season And although this wouldn't count towards the regular season standings, still be another way into asserting his dominance on these shorter, flatter ovals, like he did at Phoenix earlier this year. He had the quickest car at Gateway last season before having engine problems late. He dominated New Hampshire, and he led the most laps in that championship race at Phoenix last fall as well. It's definitely going to be a threat for the championship, and if he makes it to the championship 4, I think he is the favorite to win it. Here's my pick tonight. And here he is late. Although he hasn't led many laps, he is up front late when it matters the most. 2 laps to go. Just hoping it stays green long enough to get to the white flag now. And up off of turn 4, white flag in the air, 1 lap to go for Christopher Bell. His lead is still about 0.7 of a second over Logano. As he exits turn 2, Logano a couple car lengths ahead of Chastain for third. No close battles in the top 5. On the final lap, checker flag waves. Christopher Bell is going to win the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Joey Logano in second, Ross Chastain third, Alex Bowman fourth, and Chase Elliott rounds out the top 5 and 5th. William Byron brings it home in 6th, Tyler Reddick in 7th, Kyle Busch 8th, Chase Briscoe 9th, and Chris Buescher rounds out the top 10. Carson Hocevar in 11th, Denny Hamlin 12th, Noah Gragson 13th, Austin Dillon 14th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 15th. Ryan Blaney 16th, Josh Berry 17th, Austin Cindric 18th, John Hunter Nemechek 19th, and Harrison Burton in 20th was the last car on the lead lap. After the toe length break for Kyle Larson, he finishes 3 laps down in 21st. 2 DNFs tonight, Brad Keselowski in 22nd, and Daniel Suarez in 23rd. 5 cautions total, 18 lead changes. 3 of those cautions were for incident. 32 caution laps, 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 56 seconds to complete our full 250 lap All-Star race at North Wilkesboro Speedway. We do finish under our regulation length, and margin of victory about 0.8 of a second between Christopher Bell and Joey Logano across the stripe. Joey Logano led the most laps tonight, but he didn't have the pit strategy. He stayed out of the pits trying to hold on to old tires, and it wasn't good enough for him. He led 139 of 250 laps, but does not win the All-Star race at North Wilkesboro for the 2nd year in a row. It's Christopher Bell, who leads 28 laps, including the most important one, the final one, en route to his victory here tonight. Burnout on the front stretch, fireworks off the back stretch, and here is your race winner with his post-race interview on the front straightaway, Christopher Bell.
Right there, that one Krug is just pinned in one spot doing perfect circles.
Did not get a chance to compete in the championship 4 last year due to the last lap at Martinsville. Christopher Bell, is he going to be a championship contender this year and in the future? Just keeps getting better and better. And be aware that 3 of the last 5 All-Star winners have gone on to win the championship the same year.
No doubt. One happy Christopher Bell. Everything came together. What a car. What a call to come down pit road and take right sides. How did it all unfold for you to be an All-Star winner, $1 million richer?
North Wilkesboro, how about that one? Yeah, that right there is absolutely incredible. And North Wilkesboro, best short track on the schedule.
Are you saying you want a points race?
Let's go.
Hey, I have to ask you about these guys right here. It all started yesterday with that unbelievable stop, the 2-tire stop. Almost hit your guy. You guys pulled it off and won the heat race. What do you have to say about the pit crew and what they're doing this year for you?
Man, they're the best. I mean, there's nothing else to say, and this sport can be so humbling because behind the car, behind the wheel, you're just a small part of success. And these boys right here, Adam Stevens on the pit box, all the mechanics, all the engineers that put this thing together, they're the big picture. I'm the guy that gets to sit up here and talk to you and take pictures, but without them, I'm nobody. And I owe it all to these guys.
Perfectly said. Congratulations.
Jared Gunn home in second place tonight. Joey, this second's not what you wanted, but you're at a tire deficit there at the end of that race. And what a heck of a battle between you and Christopher Bell. That was a blast to watch.
Yeah, I'm glad you had a blast. I'm pissed off right now. I just, dang it, we had the fastest car. The Shell Penzo Mustang was so fast, and you know, you get the, I don't know, trying to choose my words correctly on the caution situation, and obviously I got bit by it, so I'm the one frustrated, obviously, but gosh, I don't know. I mean, I felt like the fall off wasn't too bad as the sun went down, and we had 6 cars or so stay out with us. I thought maybe we can pull them off, but the 20 had a good enough restart to clear too many of them too fast, and I couldn't get away in time. It took me 6-7 laps to get my car up and rolling again, and I did all I could do to hold him off, and he got under me and just released the brake, gave me no option, right? And he kind of just ran me up into the wall, and if I could have got to him, he was going around after a move like that. I just couldn't get back to him. Just too much to try to make.
To be fair, Joey did block him up against the fence a couple times before that.
Car's so fast, and you don't win it. It hurts quite a bit.
Gotta ask you then with the caution at the end there. I know you weren't a fan of that and how that came out, but maybe a points race here and no cautions like that. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm all about no gimmicks with the caution. I'm all about that. I'm a little. Me and Marcus Smith aren't seeing eye to eye right now, okay? I gotta have a word with him.
Good job with that, Joey. Thanks.
Thanks, Regan. Now finishing positions have been tallied. And Chevrolet has the lowest cumulative score, making them our manufacturer's showdown winner. Chastain led for the 5 designated Chevrolets that were part of the manufacturer's showdown. Well, this does it for NASCAR on Fox for this season. A little shorter than it's been in past years, but
Well, as FS1 is about to go off the air, I guess we are about to go off the air too. We'll pick things up again Friday night, double header for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday next weekend. ARCA followed by the truck race on Friday, and then we will be live for NASCAR Cup practice and qualifying on Saturday, followed by the Xfinity Series race, and then we will be live again Sunday, Indianapolis 500 and Coca-Cola 600 double header. We'll have all 1,100 miles of commentary right here for you on the channel. Congratulations to Christopher Bell for winning his first career NASCAR All-Star race here tonight, and a great weekend of racing overall. Thank you so much, the fans and the people watching the channel, whether you're communicative in the chat or not. Greatly appreciate you tuning in every weekend to give me the ability to be able to do this every weekend on the channel, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Thank you so much. I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching, everyone.